Changge is not just fighting heroes, he is studying their luck, breaking their support systems, and turning every defeat they suffer into fuel for himself. Spoilers ahead for chapters 10 through 19 of this Chinese manhwa. After entering a cultivation world as the powerful villain, Changge understands that brute strength is only one part of survival. The real battlefield is destiny. Young geniuses protected by fate can survive impossible odds, win allies, and rise after every humiliation. So instead of rushing in blindly, Changge attacks reputation, relationships, family pressure, and emotional trust until the so-called chosen ones start losing the invisible protection around them. Chapter 10 opens inside the Lin family estate, right after a strange ancestral event leaves elders and guests stunned. The old ancestor sits before the family and insists that their support has not truly vanished, giving the clan a fragile sense of hope. Changge then leaves by a huge flying ship, calm as ever, and checks a system-like display tied to fortune and destiny. The number shown suggests his own luck has risen, but what matters is his analysis. A person with protagonist-like fate cannot be treated like an ordinary enemy. When Changge arrives at the Lin residence, he controls the room through status alone. Lin Xiaohan is drawn into his orbit, and his attention toward her seems designed to provoke the blue-haired young man watching from the side. Chapter 11 turns that provocation into psychological warfare. Changge walks with two women through a quiet bamboo path and speaks about Xiao Tian as if the young genius is not a threat, only a predictable pattern. Lin Xiaohan recalls how Xiao Tian once impressed people with unusual talent, even correcting an elder and showing knowledge beyond his status. Changge does not need to deny that talent. Instead, he asks whether her trust came from real investigation or from an image she had already accepted. That question plants doubt, and the system rewards him as her view begins to shift. At night, a teal-robed attendant brings tea and seems uneasy about his attention toward Lady Lin. Meanwhile, Lin Xiaohan rejects Xiao Tian's jealous questioning, turning his desperate grip into another reason to distrust him. Chapter 12 opens less like a social scheme and more like a storm inside the cultivation world. Purple and crimson energies gather into monstrous shapes, with a huge eye-like formation glaring through the chaos. A lone robed figure stands before the spectacle, while red and blue forces crash together in a way that feels like a battle, a vision, or a spiritual manifestation. The chapter then shifts into quieter sect and palace-like settings, where robed characters discuss the aftermath with serious expressions. Because the dialogue is unclear, the exact explanation stays uncertain, but the visual message is obvious: the conflict is larger than one wounded genius. Elders, a reddish-brown-haired woman, and other cultivators react as if a major hidden force has moved, setting the stage for more faction pressure. Chapter 13 brings the focus back to Changge in a sect setting, where his calm presence makes everyone around him nervous. A man appears bowed, injured, or kneeling before him, while Changge raises a hand and controls the exchange without looking rushed. Soon, the scene widens into a public courtyard. Disciples and elders gather to watch as a green-robed woman and a fiery red-orange-clad woman become part of the tense social moment. The confrontation has the feeling of judgment, accusation, or a formal challenge, but Changge's authority shapes how everyone reacts. Then the chapter moves across dramatic mountains and sky toward a larger cultivation city or sect complex. The final indoor gathering introduces a loud, aggressive young cultivator, showing that Changge's pressure is creating new enemies outside the first battlefield. Chapter 14 keeps the tension inside formal spaces, where Changge stands beside a blonde woman in red and speaks with the calm confidence of someone used to obedience. Nearby cultivators react with respect, concern, and nervous attention. The setting shifts into a hall full of elders, disciples, and guests, turning what could be a private conversation into a public test of hierarchy. Changge's expression darkens as he weighs the situation, and a purple interface-like display appears, suggesting he is checking hidden status, power, or system options while everyone else only sees his composed surface. By the end, another young woman appears to speak or plead in front of the assembly. Changge does not need to shout. His power comes from watching everyone else reveal what they fear. Chapter 15 finally turns pressure into punishment. In a crowded hall, a red-haired muscular challenger confronts Changge and releases violent purple energy, but the difference in control is brutal. Changge remains refined and steady while spiritual pressure dominates the room. The challenger is overwhelmed, bloodied, and slammed down in front of horrified onlookers. The crowd hesitates between protest, pleading, and submission because everyone understands the status gap now. The focus then shifts to the Lin family and Lin Tian. Outside forces attack or pressure the estate, while Lin Tian appears injured in a hidden place with help from a fiery female spirit or mentor. Later, Changge walks in a calmer garden with the blonde woman and an attendant, while she realizes his mercy may mean he no longer sees Lin Tian as the person she once knew. Chapter 16 descends into a dark stone prison, where a blue-robed young man is already wounded behind metal bars. A red-haired woman and a blonde woman appear around the cell, but once Changge arrives, the whole scene belongs to him. He approaches the captive with controlled cruelty, speaking down to him instead of treating him like a worthy rival. Then purple-black demonic power erupts. The prisoner is thrown around and broken down until he can only beg for death. This is where the manhwa makes Changge's villain system feel especially cold. The captive's collapse triggers purple panels showing gains, costs, reward options, and a chest-like prize. Changge is not merely defeating a rival. He is converting suffering, lost destiny, and humiliation into resources for his own next upgrade. Chapter 17 opens inside a starry, system-like cultivation space. Changge studies glowing reward panels and talisman-like objects, choosing from options that appear tied to cultivation and fate. He selects a red gold object that resembles a core, seed, or heart, holds it in his palm, and absorbs its power into his body. Golden purple energy bursts outward, showing that the previous chapter's cruelty has immediately become strength. After leaving seclusion, he reunites with a worried blonde woman outside a grand residence and then faces a courtyard full of cultivators, retainers, and hostile outsiders. The confrontation escalates when a red-skinned horned fighter unleashes a golden attack. The blast tears through the scene, and a silver-haired woman is left shocked and injured, calling out as the conflict spills into the next chapter. Chapter 18 begins with a white-haired young woman arriving at a large sect courtyard with several companions, including a muscular bare-chested man and other striking fighters. Guards and disciples watch as the group enters, making their arrival feel like a deliberate challenge. Inside, they meet Changge, who receives them with a faint smile and a dismissive attitude. The white-haired woman does not bow to his pressure. She questions his conduct and pushes back in front of witnesses, while another woman looks ready to fight. The chapter briefly shows an older armored man wrapped in dark purple energy, hinting at a deeper connection to the conflict. When tension peaks, Changge casually releases a purple-black attack that overwhelms the scene, then later addresses Elder Ming, proving he is still directing events from behind the curtain. Chapter 19 carries the fallout onto a high platform or flying structure, where someone appears to fall or be thrown down before a group of cultivators gathers around the disturbance. A silver-haired young woman in purple robes becomes the focus, speaking with people nearby while maintaining a composed front. A teal-dressed young woman reacts more emotionally, as if arguing, pleading, or demanding an explanation. Then the dark-haired, red-eyed man appears in close-up, and the tone instantly turns colder. He seems calm, calculating, and dangerous in a way that makes the social confrontation feel like a trap. The silver-haired woman is later surrounded by a purple, shadowy aura, suggesting inner turmoil, suppressed power, or a dangerous transformation. The chapter leaves us with control slipping toward something unstable. These 10 chapters show why Changge is terrifying as a villain protagonist. He does not only win fights. He studies fate like a battlefield map, isolates chosen geniuses from their emotional support, and waits until their luck begins to crack. Lin Xiuhan's doubt, Lin Tian's imprisonment, the reward panels, and the new silver-haired woman's unstable aura all point to the same pattern: every relationship can become leverage, and every defeat can become currency. The current cliffhanger matters because Changge's enemies are no longer just angry young geniuses. Factions, mysterious elders, strange powers, and dangerous women are now being pulled into his orbit. That is chapters 10 through 19 in order. Subscribe for the next recap, where we continue from the silver-haired woman's ominous aura and Changge's next move.